Hello and welcome to the Inside Stylist podcast, where we talk all about interiors with interviews with interior stylists, writers and the big names in interiors, from brands and PRs to artists and designers. I also catch up with industry experts in the know and get them to share all their knowledge and advice. There's so much to talk about. I'm your host, Emma Morton-Turner, an interior stylist and a writer with a ton of experience. I set up InsideStylist.com so I could share all that interiors love with you. So don't forget to head on over to the website for not only the show notes from today's episode, but for links to interior stylists, writers and assistants' profiles, and a ton of inspiration. But for now, enjoy the show. When it comes to pattern, florals and a generally bright and happy outlook on interiors, you don't get much more colourful and uplifting than today's guest. You'll know her from the TV programme Interior Design Masters, where she showed us how having your own style, sticking to your true vibe and basically bringing the sunshine to any room makes you an interiors inspiration. As well as running her interior studio, she now has an online course teaching how to get her look and confidently mix colour and pattern in your own home, something she's an expert on. I'm very excited to talk all things interiors with interior designer Ju De Paula. I didn't check your name. Have I pronounced your name correctly?
Ju De Paula.
Ju De Paula. You sound it so. You say it so beautifully.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you very much for inviting me to your home to record this podcast.
Thank you for coming.
It's a real treat. I have to say that I try and do a lot of research into the questions and topics that we talk about when I do the podcast. And I follow you on Instagram, so I've seen what your home looks like, and I say this quite a lot. It's really exciting coming into people's houses for real, but it's February, it's very sunny, and your home is just such a bright, happy place. It's so lovely and colourful.
Oh, so thank you.
Thank you for letting me come in.
Oh, thanks for coming.
So, what's your background? You're an interior designer. Were you always in interiors?
Yes, I started studying architecture back in Brazil in 2000. So I did 2.5 years of architecture, because in Brazil, if you, at least that time I was like, interiors is more for architects. So I started there, and then while I was studying, I was working in a high-end furniture store doing, home consultations for clients. So that is when I really fell in love with interiors. And then when I moved to England, then I kept working as interior designer. Is
there a big difference between Brazilian interiors and British interiors? Did you have to change a lot when you moved to England?
Yes, there is difference, because I think in Brazil is more, interiors are more colourful, and also they use more like fitted furniture. Here, I think because it's so easy here to find beautiful vintage antique pieces, it's more like a mixed, style, and I absolutely love it. So, yeah. Well,
you've definitely brought your colourful Brazilian kind of vibe to England, because I think that's what people probably know you for. Where does your inspiration come from? When I think of you, I kind of think of you as sunshine. You're so bright and happy, and I'm sitting in your living room. There's yellow, there's green. I'm sitting on a pink sofa. There's so much floral influence in this room. It's really lovely, and it's quite a unique thing. You have the ability to mix patterns and colours in a way that I think a lot of people don't know how to do that. So where does that inspiration come from?
I believe inspiration always has to come from the inside. I know outside is good too, and I know it helps with inspiration. But I think when you want to create a home that is connected to you, a home that makes you feel good, I don't think it's about trends. It's about, looking at the outside. I think you have to start with the inside, with the happy memories you have, things that makes you smile. So my inspiration, when I'm designing my project, they are usually from my memories, and like from Brazil, from my, from Sunday afternoons at the beach, from my mom's very colorful home. So that's where my inspiration comes from.
And is it quite easy to find things that you are... there's a lot of floral inspiration at the moment. Big florals are very on trend.
Yeah.
And it's quite interesting, because I speak to quite a lot of interior designers, and I speak to interior stylists. And stylists have to kind of think about what the trends are. But interior designers is literally what you just said. You have to do what people like for the longevity. They want to have a home and not redecorate it all the time. Why would you describe your home to people who are listening and can't imagine it? Literally, because the sun is shining so much, it feels like we're in the middle of summer. You would not believe the amount of frost on the windows as I drove this morning. But it is a really bright home. Would you like to describe how your colour use is in your home?
I think my home is a feel-good home. That's the thing. For me, it's about feeling good. So I think if I had to describe my home, it's patterned, it's very colorful, it's definitely sunshine, and I think I like to add like a touch of Alice in Wonderland of everything I do. I like to add a little bit of the unexpected.
So for someone who can't see where we are, what would you say? How do you do that? How do you add your Alice in Wonderland? I'm looking at that cushion with a giraffe.
Yes.
It's a round cushion. It's got a picture of a giraffe on it, and it's got like flowers. I'll have to take a picture of it. It's got flowers. It's got like a headdress. It's really like quite out there. But that sort of thing.
Yes, like for example, if you look behind me, I got this curtain. So if you see, I don't have like one fabric here. I have like one side, I have 3 fabrics. On the other side, I have another 3 fabrics, different colors. So, I like to, break things a bit. I know it's not for everyone's taste. And it was like one of my biggest challenges when I was in the show. Yeah. Because it's very personal. But I like things that are a little bit, out there.
How did you come to be on Interior Design Masters?
Oh, that is a bit like a woo-woo story. So was end of 2017. I had just finished creating my first online course, and I had run a beta test with 100 people, and everyone loved it. And it was like, okay, now I'm ready to launch. It was like, so I think this was around January 2018. And then I was like, okay, I need to launch, but I don't have money for ads. How am I going to get this course out there? And then I was like very sad. So I was crying. It was like very cold night. I will never forget. I was in my office. I looked at the window crying, and I said, how can I get my course out there? Help me, show me, give me a sign. And then I stopped that. I got my phone. I opened my Instagram. I had a post saying they're looking for interior designers for a new TV show. And then I remember my reaction was like straight away, I look at the phone and I look back to the window and say, are you kidding me?
That's a sign and a half.
Like, a TV show. Like, I'm an introvert. So for me, it's hard. But I'm like, okay, if you want me, I would do it.
And what was the process to get? Was it like, it must have been an elimination process to get to be the last few on the show?
It was a very long process.
Was it stressful?
It took like from the beginning of the year until end of May. It was like a very long process. We had, first we sent the application and then some pictures, and then they called us. Then we had a Skype interview. Then after that, they sent mock-up projects for us to do, like we were on the show. So it's like all the details, everything. And then they came here with camera and a crew and did a test, camera test and stuff. So it was a very long process.
I was thinking about that because I remember when I watched the show, I remember that they always video people in their own homes. And I was thinking, as a stylist, that apparently there are 2 types of interior stylists. The ones who have houses that look like location houses and they're perfect, and the ones that have houses that are never quite finished because you never quite get around to doing it. I'm the latter, and the thought of someone coming with a camera would scare the life out of me. Yeah, but you obviously... Your house is beautiful.
Oh, thank you.
Finished.
Yeah, no, but it was like, the days before they come, like, because they came, like, the shots you saw in the show when they come, that was afterwards, it's not the test one. But, like, the days they came for the test, and then for that shot, oh my God, I went mad. It was like a whole week of preparation. Yeah. I don't sleep because I'm kind of used to it because lucky enough, like, I've been quite magazines and blogs and stuff that people come and photograph. So it's madness. When before I shoot here, it's madness. A whole week trying to hide toys away.
It's kind of like when you meet your mother-in-law for the first time. It's like really scary. You don't want her to see if there's any dust anywhere or anything. It's got to be perfect.
Exactly. Yeah.
But cameras are always very good at hiding that, the stuff that goes on behind the camera.
My conservatory is like you can't even walk in.
No one needs to know any of that. So what was it like when you were on the show? You have a family. And it must be quite mad for your kids to have their mum on TV. And obviously you film it way in advance of it going on the show. But did you have to be away from home quite a lot?
Yes, it was. I wasn't here. It was like 6 months that I wasn't at home. It was, we used to film 1 week in, 1 week off. But the thing is, the week we're off, we're prepping for next week. So even if I was here, I wasn't here. It was quite hard. And like when we go, even there was just 3 days, it was like 5 days filming because we had to travel, we had to go to London because the studio was in London. So it was very tough.
Would you do it again?
I would in a heartbeat. I loved every minute of it.
What was the best bit?
I think apart from, of course, meeting the other designers because we do love each other so much. Now we're also such a good friends, and to me it was like the best bit. I think apart from that was, meeting some of my idols like Sophie Robinson. I got to go to her house, meet her. We exchange messages and things like that. That for me was the icing on the cake.
Yeah. Oh, that's cool. Yeah, you met loads of people actually.
Loads,
and
yeah.
Michelle
loads.
was quite,
and Michelle, it was quite nice.
What was the scariest part? To be honest, I watched it and I thought, this scares the life out of me. To do this is a really big challenge, but to do it with cameras watching you, and it got very, time is so short, and the whole thing looked, I was like nervous watching it.
Yeah, it was crazy. Like the whole thing was crazy. I remember I lost about 10 kilos doing it. It was mad. But I think
you don't really have 10 kilos to lose.
Oh, I had, believe me, I was like, I never felt so pretty in my life. Like, woo, my old jeans, come on, baby. I loved it. But
if you need to lose weight, just go on TV.
Exactly. But yeah, I think like the scariest bit was, putting yourself out there. Apart from like the timing and the craziness of the whole thing, it was like putting yourself out there to be judged, because we're being judged not just, by people that you don't know. That's quite scary. Like I didn't go Twitter once, when the show was on, because I was just scared. But like being judged by people you love, because, people judge.
Yeah.
And, but by your idols and, on TV. So like, if Michelle really hated what I did, could have like ruined my career.
Yeah.
So that's pretty scary.
Yeah, that is very scary. How has being on the show affected your career?
It massively. It's like everything I wanted, I can see now. I'm going to start getting emotional, because it's like everything I wanted is like I can see now happening. I worked so hard. Oh, I'm going to stop. Oh my God, I never stop crying. But like, everything I worked so hard, I worked bloody hard to get, my business off the ground, where I was raising the kids and, and now seeing everything happening. All the doors are opening for me. All these students, they're getting to my courses. There's lovely people that I'm meeting and helping them. So it's been wonderful.
You're still designing as well as running the course?
I do design, but I'm not very often, because I don't have the time. But I do have. I always have one client that I'm working on at the moment. Like,
yeah, I mean, it's very hard to be. To have lots of things going on at once and be a mum as well. It's like the juggling is real. So
yes, exactly. Because with kids, with young children, you don't have much time. So
no, exactly. But they must be very proud of you.
Yes, they are. It's so cool, because as one of the episodes they were on, like, I don't think in the Netflix shows them, but in the UK it showed, and my daughter was so happy because they actually played in school. So she was like, "Mommy, I'm famous."
Oh, I was going to say, what's it like going to school now and dropping the kids off at the school gate? It's like, they're like, "You were just on TV last night." It's like,
yeah, it was funny.
It was good.
It was fun. Yeah, it's funny sometimes. Now it stopped, but before, like when the show was on here in the UK, we used to go out and people would stop and ask for selfies and stuff. Oh. And I was like, "What? Me? What? What's up with me?" Like,
yeah, you're on TV now. That's it.
It's so funny. Yeah, it's lovely.
So you were saying you stay in touch with all of the other designers.
Yes, we do.
That's
We're
really
very
lovely.
good friends.
You get to meet up and.
Yes, we do. We I think some of them, they live quite far, so I haven't seen them in a while. But we do have a WhatsApp group that we're always chatting, and
I suppose. It's one of those situations where no one else will understand what it was really like apart from them. You have that common understanding.
We have that connection because we all went through the same process. It was so tough and we all being together. And it's not just sharing that, but also the moments we shared, because we used to travel together. So it's like, it was so much fun. The train back home, the journey back home was just the best bit.
Yeah, because it's all over and you can relax for 5 minutes until you get to start for the next week. Yeah,
exactly.
So I always like to ask people a disaster that they've experienced and overcome. Can you share maybe an interior design disaster that you've had, whether it was on the show or designing for someone's home?
I think like my first interior design disaster is a lesson that I learned. I was about 13, 14, and I asked my mom if I could redo my bedroom because I was already getting to interiors. Yeah. And she, brave enough, said, "Yeah, go for it." We're like, "Okay." So she took me to the paint shop, and I chose like a burgundy color. I don't know why I chose that color. And I painted everywhere. I painted the ceiling, I painted the walls, I got burgundy furniture.
Wow.
It was like...
It's like so far away from the room we're in right now.
Yeah, exactly. It was like so depressing. I hated it so much once it finished. And I had to wait for another year.
Another year before you were brave enough to say, Mom, I can't cope with it anymore. That's really interesting.
Because it was just something that I think I saw in a magazine or something, and I thought, oh, that is nice, and I'm going to copy instead of just thinking about what I liked. But I was so young, I just wanted to look more grown up, I think.
Have you ever used burgundy since?
No, ever.
It's like when I was at primary school, my school uniform was forest green, and I hated it. And now when I look at that colour, I'm like, I'm not going anywhere near that colour. Just hate it in any form, fashion, interiors, anything.
Yeah, and my uniform in school was burgundy. I don't know what I was thinking. I seriously don't know what I was thinking.
You must have just been really happy at school.
No, I wasn't. I was terrible at school.
So I want to talk about your Instagram feed, because I was thinking about whether I would say this or not, because you've kind of touched on it a bit, but I say to my daughter all the time that she's pure sunshine. She walks into a room and she lights up the space, and that's what you're like. Your Instagram feed just makes you feel really up and really happy, and I think it's because your colours are really up and you're always very chatty, and also I love it that you do your feed. You do a lot of your stories in English and then in Portuguese as well, which I think is really good. There's a couple of people I know who I've got a Polish friend I follow who does the same. She does half her Instagram grid in English and then half in Polish. And it's like, that's really lovely that you really get a feel where they come from and everything. Yeah. So it's really lovely. But you're doing really well on Instagram. It's really interesting. So you do stories, you do lots of IGTVs. How are you finding Instagram?
I love Instagram. You know, when I started my business, it was like the first thing I did was open my Instagram account. And my Instagram account really helped me to build my brand, because while I was doing my Instagram and choosing pictures to put on Instagram, I was kind of like discovering what I really liked. And it was like, you know, how can I say, a light bulb turned on, and it was like, okay. And then I start attracting the people who love what I love. Yeah. And then I start understanding more my followers, understanding more my people and my community, and seeing how I could help them. So I absolutely love Instagram. I love taking pictures. I love creating videos.
Do you do it all yourself? You take your own pictures?
I used to take more pictures myself. Now I have a photographer, but I still do some pictures. Yeah, I do still take some pictures. I love taking pictures. I love creating videos. I absolutely love, you know, those cute videos where you do some stop motion and things. I love it. Like, if I had more time, I would be creating that all the time, because I love it.
Your style is very distinctive, and I think I read somewhere, because when I was doing my research, because I want to make out like I do loads of research before I do this podcast, that you kind of had a general kind of interior design. When you did interior design originally, it was kind of, you did lots of different things, and then you found that actually when you niched down and did your very colourful floral vibe, everything kind of
changed,
slotted into place. And can you talk about that a little?
Yeah, because you know, especially when I was in Brazil doing interior design, I kind of was too young. I didn't really know what I liked, to be honest. I was just doing what I was told to do. And when I moved to here, I started from scratch. I had to start building my portfolio, and I had to do whatever job came to me. And I remember I did a job for another interior designer. I was working like as a contractor, and we did like a beautiful Knightsbridge project. It was like 6 apartments, and it was very high end, but it didn't have one thing of me, nothing, and I couldn't feel connection to it, you know. And then I started doing other projects, and like I created beautiful spaces that the clients loved, and I loved my clients, but it's still, I never got attention. And once I started my Instagram account, I started decorating this house and putting out there my style, Ju's style, not no one else's style, just Ju's, and my husband, of course, a little bit of him.
I was going to ask that.
A little bit of him. And, you know, that's when I started getting attention. I remember I always had a dream. I don't know if you know Design Sponge. The blog. I remember I always had this dream of being on Design Sponge. And it was like, since I moved here, since 2006, 2007, when I first met, I was like, oh God, I need that to be in that blog one day. And I remember after I was Instagram one day, I received an email from them asking if I want to be there. I was like, oh my God, that's it. You know, why have I been doing, you know, just trying to do what I was told, instead of just, you know, trying to add a little bit of more of me to the project. And yes, and since then I've been so many magazines and blogs and podcasts and TV and I think it would never happen if I was just doing what other people ask me to do.
Yeah, I think it's really important, and it's one of those things like like you mentioned Sophie Robinson, she's so impactful with colour. If you want colour, you would go to her. If you want taupe, you go to Kelly Hoffman.
Exactly.
If you want floral, you come to you. And it's that whole knowing where you go to get the look that you want. And I think that's really important.
Yeah.
You touched on your husband. I met your husband. He's very lovely. You've got quite a lot of pink in your home.
I do.
How does he feel about that?
Wow, it's not that easy to convince him to use pink, to be honest. It's kind of like, a negotiation.
Yeah. Oh, you're good. You ask.
But I do. It's just like, I think now he kind of understands that it's also my business and it's also important to have it. And he kind of likes it now. The only thing, like, we are preparing to do our master bedroom, and he was like, no floral crazy there, no
really?
pink there.
That'd be
I was
interesting.
like, okay.
How are you going to do that? I can understand
knows.
not pink, because it's not like pink is your thing. It's just, I think of you as like really strong colours.
Yeah.
Not Sophie Robinson strong, but good strong colours.
Yeah.
But I think of you as floral. I think of you as big blousy pattern florals and stuff. So we shall have to watch Instagram and see how that transpires.
I haven't even started the project yet. Kind of like, I know it's going to be like, it's going to be drama.
I learned quite, I have this habit of decorating when my husband goes away for work. It's just like, let's do it.
Like
and then but I like really dark colours. I'm a bit of an Abigail Ahern, paint the ceiling dark. And I've got a very small kitchen that used to be galley, and it's now opened up into the living room. And the kids went to school one day, and I painted the entire kitchen very dark grey, including the ceiling. And one daughter didn't even notice, but when my husband came in, he went, looks like a cave. And the other day I was saying, we really need to paint the dining room. And I mean the dining room. He was like, yeah, can we paint the ceiling back to white? It was just like,
oh no.
Normally he just lets it go, but it's like,
it's so hard, isn't it?
Yeah.
I remember this sofa, when I was going to get the cover for the sofa, I was like, okay, let's get a cover for the sofa. Is it okay if I use pink? Oh, sure. Can it be another colour? I think it is. Pink's going to look nice. I promise I'm going to have a green wall, and it's going to like off balance it. And I don't know. Like,
It's beautiful. It's a kind of an ice cream shade pink, and it's like it's linen. It's beautiful. I will find a picture on Instagram and share it on the show notes so people can see what we're talking about. But it's beautiful. It's very comfortable as well.
It is,
and it's huge. So you could both lie down on this and watch TV and not actually have to touch each other. It's quite. Not that you don't want to, just that you could really lounge and not be. That's you've got room to spread out.
Yeah,
Kids
with
can
the
sit
design
on.
here, it was about it was about that. It was about like create a room that is it's just to relax and enjoy, just just have a good family time, and a good relaxed time as well.
We touched on your online course. You've been doing them for quite a long time, and they're all about. I think the one that you've got currently. I know you've got quite a few, but. About how to make colour and pattern work, and how to make it work for you, because I think it's quite difficult to do that. I interviewed an interior designer about Emma Detterding. She does Kelling Designs, and she's known for strong colours and mixing patterns. And I asked her how she does that, and she said, well, everything goes. And I thought, it doesn't know. It's that she can see how it goes. It's very hard for someone else to pull two patterns together and make it work. And is that what you teach? How to do that?
That's exactly what I teach. Because people can think like sometimes, how do you do that? That's so hard. But actually, if you just follow a few steps, you can do it yourself. I think the most important thing when we're choosing pattern and color is first to decide how you want your space to feel. That is super important, because then you can pick your colors based on how you want your space to feel. Because colors, they evoke emotion. They have, that psychology behind them.
Yes.
So,
This is why I'm surprised about the burgundy.
Exactly.
But you were young.
Yeah, exactly. God knows what I did. So I think, once you know how you want it to feel, you pick your colors, then you can choose your patterns, and then that have those colors. And then from your pattern, you get like a hero piece. So you get a hero piece, like a hero pattern could be a picture on the wall, it could be a curtain, it could be a wallpaper. And then from there, you're going to work with the other patterns, in mixing geometrics and different scales, like larger scale, smaller scale. It's super easy to learn, really is.
Yeah, see, I think it's one of those things that when you're in the interiors industry and you're quite creative, you can see how things work.
Yeah.
And if you break it down for someone who isn't visual and doesn't see, they know something's wrong, but they don't know how to make it right.
I tell you what, when I was going to speak Portuguese with you, when I decided like, you know, when I started discovering what I really liked, and I was already having my studio. I already had my studio, but I thought I need to learn more about color and pattern, because I understood a little bit, but you know, my mom is very good with it. My mom is like, she knows, but I never really understood how to do that. And I thought I would need to learn more because I like that. I need to learn more. So I went and got a part-time job in Designers Guild, because I can't think of any other company that does pattern like them. And I went there just to learn. I was there like every day from 12 to 4 just to learn. I was sucking in. And I start analyzing, and that's how I learned. I start seeing how they like breaking everything, how they put everything together. And then, you know, and then I create this process that now I teach my students.
Yeah. Oh, that's really interesting. I've heard that before, that if you want to get into a completely new industry, you should go and work in it.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
learn on the job. So you're being paid, but you are literally living it almost.
Yeah, I was like, every free time I had, I was there sitting on the floor with the books and mixing things and just, you know, breathing in and trying to understand better. Yeah. So yeah.
That's really interesting. I like that. I'm quite tempted to go and get a job there now. So your online course is live now, so people can get it on your website. So I'm going to just give your details of your website. It's called bloominghomesociety.com. And also your Instagram, we've mentioned, is Blueberry Living Co. Yes. I will link this in the show notes so everyone can find you easily. But actually, if they put your name in, it shows up too. I've checked that.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah. So my last question, what's next?
Wow, what's next? Now I have big plans. I want to start a YouTube channel. I want to start 2 YouTube channels actually. I want to start one in Portuguese for my people in Brazil, and one in English for everyone else.
Brilliant idea, yeah.
So yeah, now it's like working on the YouTube channel. Getting out there, just helping more people, really. Reaching more people and helping more people. Yeah,
that's brilliant. Oh, well, we will look out for that, and when that goes live, I will share it. So
thank you.
I will be watching, so I will know. But thank you very much, Ju. It's been really lovely to come.
It was lovely having you.
Thank you. Thanks for listening to the Inside Stylist podcast. You can find all the details from today's episode over in the show notes on insidestylist.com. If you enjoyed the show, I'd love it if you would head on over to iTunes and rate and review it. It's the best way to help other people find the show, and I'd really appreciate it. Until next time, bye for now.